Okay guys, listen up. From aspiring designers to people who are having a mid-career change of heart, there's a common question that I find popping up in the comment section to my videos. How do I break into the automotive design industry? The route that I took into automotive design was probably about as traditional as they come. I grew up at my father's dealership, sketching the shapes of cars that I fell in love with and getting better with each attempt until I read that you could go to school to learn from professionals how to create my own designs and eventually get paid to do that. I packed my bags, moved from Malaga, Spain to California, USA, and studied at Art Center College of Design, where I graduated after 4 grueling years and was offered my first design position at Ford in Cologne, Germany. Though it's not the most enthralling journey, it demanded a lot of hard work and obviously personal sacrifice. It instilled in me a level of discipline that may have been impossible to impose upon myself. It also held me accountable to the feasibility of whatever ideas my imagination would lead me to. So these are invaluable skills to possess. As priceless as these standards were to uphold, what was most beneficial was the sense of competition between my peers and myself. To be able to look over your right, look over to your left, and see 2 guys working on their incredible ideas only pushes you to want to be better. On our first day at Art Center, the professor told us that of the 30 of us in the room, only about 5 of us would end up turning professional, which was a call to arms as it woke up a primal sense of survival. Like a secret weapon, if any of us should start to lose hope, doubt that we would make it into that fateful 5. Design school, design university was a rite of passage that lets any OEM, original equipment manufacturer, know that you are ready to work and that you've been through the ringer and can handle whatever the job can and will be thrown up at you. If you want to make it in any industry, you need a solid network which will never prove worthless. I cannot tell you the amount of times a job has come in that I'm unable to take, so I pass it along to someone I know who I can trust, and also the amount of times that I've been that person who's had something passed along to them. The miracle of modernity is that your favorite designers is accessible to you as an internet connection, and all you need to do is send them the right thing and you can transform your life, which leads me on to an incredibly important point. Listen up. You have to put the hours in yourself. You have to reach a certain level of capability if you want somebody else to give you a chance. This means grueling days, weeks, months of practice, and heart-shattering moments of self-reflection and your current limits of ability and technique. I've received countless design submissions that are painfully unaware of their shortcomings and limitations. This advice doesn't just suit designers, but any kind of passion, whether it's design, art, music. If you want to be a professional, you need to be able to hold your work up to somebody that you admire and that you honestly see the ways in which what you have made is inferior, and then you need to go back and work on it until you hit another brick wall, and you have to again hold it up against something great to show, to reveal what you need to work on. What you are practicing here is self-awareness, which is invaluable to anybody who must be creative, must create for a living. I can even remember when I had to hold my works up, I was comparing my work in university with the likes of Andy Ogden, Freeman Thomas, and I thought, I'll never reach their level. They were the gods in our university at my time. And lo and behold, I don't know if I've achieved that level, but I sure as hell tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. The design process is one of distillation and refinement And you need to make sure that when you're sending your work to someone who you admire, that you are exhausted from continuously pushing the work that you've done to its limits over and over again. Just as important as the work you're creating is the attitude you create with it. More often than not, it's your attitude that gets your foot in the door, and what you create is just a bonus that goes along with it. To exemplify this point, I want to take this video into another direction, and I want to ask you the question, why? Why do you want to break into the design industry? Is it to be associated with the luxury that working under a brand name like Ferrari will bring? Do you want to leave your individual impression on a company like Giugiaro did wherever he went? Are you just in love with the process of creating something out of nothing and would be happy to receive any type of payment for doing so? These are the important questions to ask yourself in the context of what the future looks like for a designer at an OEM. If recent design cues are anything to go by, car designs may have completely homogenized by the time some of you graduate from design university. The current car trends have made some cars indistinguishable between other brands, and the romance, the boldness of yesteryear, the ones that made us, all fall in love with cars, that's fading fast. And car designers, I think, are at the danger of becoming almost interchangeable with fridge designers. If you are looking to enter the industry, to produce your singular vision of what cars could be, then you may find yourself getting there 30 years too late. You may be the maverick that's going to end up turning it all around. Though I think that if you're to be a true maverick, you wouldn't get into the industry by way of a design school or by networking your way in, which leads to another very interesting point. The solution of the modern homogeneity of design is not going to come from the inside. It's probably going to come from an individual outside of the industry who's not working for money, but out of the necessity to satiate their own curiosity for what the limits of car design can actually be. Currently, it's possible for you to utilize social media to build a public portfolio and a following that will, in the eyes of the OEM, give you a sense of value and create an opportunity for collaboration. Perhaps the OEMs aren't even something that we take with us into the future. It's entirely possible that there's going to come a time when the history that made a company desirable will be far enough in the past that people are going to move their attention to seeking out where the next spark of individual brilliance will come from. The industry isn't the be-all and end-all for a designer. If this channel has shown me anything, it's the validity and the potential of the video game and the entertainment avenue for designers. The world of car design, sorry to say, it can be very elitist. It can be very exclusive, perhaps with only a handful of people ever getting to own something that you've created. Whereas in video games, people get to engage and they get to interact with them, and they potentially even get to customize them. You only have to think as far as the late and great Sid Mead to see how a designer only needs to be able to have a singular vision, to be able to have a strong influence on the future of design. This multitude of avenues open to you is the reason I'm asking you the question, why? As breaking into the industry isn't the only way to go about realizing your dreams of becoming a professional designer. I think it's important to know what your motivation is in order to avoid reaching your dream and then realizing that what you were chasing was perhaps, I don't know, something else completely different, entirely different. So as a young man, my dream, I don't know, was to add to the historical richness, I guess you could call it, of names like Ferrari and Maserati. And when I got there, when I reached that, I actually discovered what I wanted to do was create my own design language. And then I went on to do that. I had the chance to do that at McLaren. When I did that, upon doing it, what I realized, what I wanted to actually do was create free from the limitations of corporate quotas and penny pushers. I'm forever grateful to the experience that I've managed to acquire working for the incredible brands that I have, and also alongside the peers of whom their quality I'm just a reflection of. But if I were to be a young man again, with the technology and with the access available to me, I might have approached things from a completely different perspective. There are amazing concept artists littered across the social media platforms. Perhaps the OEMs aren't even something that we take with us into the future. Like a guy called William Towns, research that one, and his kit cars in the past, or Gordon Murray even today, more recently. Luckily, I'm still a creative young man with a lot of ideas yet to fulfill. And one of those ideas is going to be a design masterclass that's going to help those of you out there that want to learn from my years of practice and execution and sketching and rendering, presenting my designs, all of that. This is one of those many incredible things that we've got lined up for 2021. The one thing that I want you to take away from this is to realize there are so many companies out there that require design input, good professional design input, that your scope today should be infinitely wider than my scope was when I finished Design University. Before you surrender yourself to be an employee of a company, see what you can create for yourself. Never before has it been easier to actually design something yourself, create it, and actually put it out there for the public, for the consumer. Build it and they will come, believe me. And there we have it. I think we covered a lot of topics today. I would love to read your comments below on why you love design and what you're specifically doing to achieve that goal of becoming a designer. That'll be great reading for me, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode.